Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm here today with Ron from Romo Art. How you doing, Ron?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. It's funny.
Excellent.
We've been talking for a long time back and forth, and I realized you've never been on my channel. I've been on yours.
Yeah.
And it's funny how memory plays tricks on you. I thought you were on my channel.
No, I mean, back when I had a channel, I don't really do it anymore. It wasn't.
Okay.
I never ever wanted a YouTube. I thought I had to do it to sell comics. Even that didn't help. It was something that's not it's not part of who I am. So it was like torture the day of, because I'd work all day. I'd go home. I just want to sit, draw, work out, be with my family. And I'm like, I have an hour chunk to talk to someone I don't know. And I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
you run your own business. You got a wife, you got kids, and you're trying to make comics. Yeah.
And the thing is, after I did a show, my wife, who was my, producer, would be like, how you feel? I was always happy after the show, but it's that whole time leading up to it, I was always like, oh God. So
I've been doing this for a while now. I'm still nervous before I hit that button. Like, what if this bombs? What if I don't? Because most of the times I'm meeting the guest for the first time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's a couple of times where I was like, this is just fumbling. This is, I think I managed to recover.
I've done nothing compared to what you've done. And even I had a couple myself. I was very lucky. Most of the people I talked to, instant rapport. And it's just like, we just got talking and talking. It was great. But, I had you on my show, and it was right at the beginning of where you started to blow up.
Yeah.
It was right there where you started to blow up.
It's a firecracker opposed to a bomb. I don't think I blew up, but blew up in comparison to what I was 2 years ago. Yes,
but I was so happy for you. I was because I immediately liked you, which I think everyone immediately likes, John. And
I get shy when I'm Roman Catholic Irish. When people compliment me, I'm like, stop.
Oh, I'm the same way. It's literally painful if someone gives me a compliment. I know.
You can call me an asshole, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm more comfortable with that. But when you compliment me, I get
the New Yorker in us. I think that's the New Yorker in us too, though.
Because in my house, you didn't show affection. You called somebody a little jerk, and you're like, he likes me.
yeah. See, that's New York. That's the way it is.
You're in New York too, right?
I'm in Western New York, but still, I mean, it's like where you are in New York is like a hyper when
you say New York, you think of where I am.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm right between Buffalo and Rochester, so it's like New York.
Yeah, you have more in common with Ohio than my part of New York.
It's cut in half. It's really cut in half. We definitely have a harder edge, and then there's real New York, which is just all edge. You know what I mean? So it's
for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, I always put out my hand and say this is New York and this is Long Island. I was in the 5 boroughs. I moved out during COVID because I just couldn't take it anymore. But if you leave this section, it's all cows and farms.
Yeah.
It's all cows. Oh, I think Brittany's called me handsome. You now have competition. It's official.
There you go.
Brittany,
my beautiful wife, Brittany. She also automatically, she's like, oh, I love John. I was like, I know, he's great. So we were so happy that I was just watching your show with these guests. I'm like, dude, he's killing it now. It's so great. So even though it's a firecracker, it's not a bomb. It needed to happen. And you were doing this whole thing just because you needed people to talk to you about comics, and you loved it.
Yeah, I say it all the time. Like during COVID, I'm kind of an extroverted person. I do enjoy talking to people, and it's weird. I have a limit. Like if I go to a party, I'll have 2 or 3 people that I'll talk to, but I'm not going to get up and entertain the crowd. You know what I mean? So like when I do panel shows, if you watch, I tend to shut down because I don't want to fight over people and talk, like I know I don't want to compete for conversation room. So like 4 or 5 people, but anyway, that's besides the point. So I just started talking to nobody, literally for 2 years. Talking to nobody, just holding a comic book, talking, and then sooner or later I had 2 or 3 people that were following regularly and commenting, and it started to get fun. And then I owe it all to RJ from the Fourth Age. He took a liking to me. He invited me on his channel. We started talking, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start inviting people. And Mike Barron, I think the poor guy didn't realize that I was nobody. He came on he was like one of my first guests. I didn't know how to talk to people. I was starstruck, you know. And the funny thing is, like a year later, he's hey John, can I come on your channel? He had no recollection he was even on my channel before.
No shit, really?
Yeah, it was.
That's awesome.
You know, but I enjoy talking. And it's amazing. And my whole philosophy has been ask.
Yeah.
What are they going to say? No. You know what I mean? Like I've had, you know, what's that term? Punching above your weight. You know, definitely I've had guests that should not have been on my channel. You know, like J.M. DeMatteis, the guy's a freaking comic book legend. And it was funny because we talked right beforehand, and he was like a little. I think he was like, "Oh my God, who is this guy? This guy's like, what did I just get myself into?" And then by the end of it, we were laughing and joking, and we talked for like a half hour afterwards. And he was just like, "That was a lot of fun. I enjoyed talking to you. You know, because you never know what you're gonna get into when you agree to these things. There's gonna be some guy in his underwear being creepy and nobody's watching." He goes, "But that was fun. Oh, invite me back." Like next Friday, I have Michael T. Gilbert. The guy who created Mr. Monster.
Okay.
This guy's like a comic book legend. I've been a fan of his since since I hate to say it because I'm an old man, that makes him sound older, but since I was a little kid. And Mike Gustovich is going to be on Wednesday, another legend. He drew the Justice League. He created the Justice Machine.
Wow.
So
this is just hearing you talk about it. This is why your channel needed, like, it was going to happen. All you needed to do was keep doing it. It was going to happen because this is who you are. And the passion you have for comics is unreal. YouTube it was never who I was, is who I thought I needed to be. And I just never, it's like I'm a true introvert. If I've ever been on a panel, which has been a few times, unless I'm really comfortable with everybody, I've seen them, I've talked to them already. I'm just like you. I'm more like sitting back, listening to everything, talking to everything. The only time I'll chime up is if something kind of triggers me a little bit, and then my temper takes over. But I'm always respectful. But I need to say something then. But yeah, it takes a lot. It takes a lot out of me to talk to humans. It really does. It really takes a lot out of me, and I do it all day long. Like I run a health. It's not a health food store. It's vitamins and herbs. So I talk to people all day long, and I have people coming into. I can't tell you how many people I've had coming into the store already in tears. So I'm like part counselor as well, because they're dealing with anxiety disorders or depression, or their daughters are both dealing with anxiety and trauma. So I help them through that. So it's an interesting day, almost every day. And then when it's slow, I do everything digitally. So when it's slow, which thank God for me, my store is like, there's times when it's busy and then it slows down. That's when I get some drawing done. I just whip out the iPad and I just keep going to town. So I'm very lucky because I was traditional. I was pencil to paper my whole life. I'm 47. So my whole life I was pencil to paper until I think I've had my iPad like a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Because technology finally caught up to where I could draw right on the iPad like paper, instead of using like a Wacom tablet where I'm drawing out here and it's coming up on the screen. That was always weird to me. I couldn't do that. So I was like, I told my wife, I was like, holy shit, like look at what's available now. I could get so much more done. And I did. And drawing digitally has helped me I couldn't do what I do now without the digital process. I really couldn't, because traditional still takes me a while.
But one of my coworkers lived next door to John Romita Sr. And he's like, is this guy a big deal? Like, to him, he was just the kindly old guy that lived next door. I was like, oh my God. So he saw me freak out. He invited me over, and I went to John Romita Senior's. And one of the things he was telling me is that he could not get to digital drawing. Like, he still drew on paper. He just couldn't do it. He said it didn't feel right. He said there was not enough resistance. Like, for
I know that is.
I was in his 90s, so 80 years of muscle memory.
Yeah.
He said he just couldn't retrain his hands. So how do you feel about that? See, I'm not an artist, so I know. So Brian Powell, even a light box was to me. So basically, I don't even know.
So, like I said, I could not do so. The tablet, the reactivity of the pencil to tablet, and how it's just there's no lag or anything. Okay, the reactivity is a relatively new thing. For at least 15 years, most digital artists use the giant Wacom tablets, where you were drawing on your lap or near your lap, and it was appearing on the screen.
But nothing was showing up down here?
No, it's just a gray. It's just
crazy.
I couldn't do it. I tried. I could not do it. I hated it. So I stayed. And like I said, finally, I'm just going through YouTube. I'm watching a few channels. I'm like, man, technology has really caught up. And so I'm like, I got to do it. And they also have screensavers. They have screensavers. They have grit. They're called like paper feel or real paper. They have a grit to them. It wears off in like a month, but still, it did not take me long, and I'm really glad. Hey, thanks, Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus is a great moderator. Yeah,
awesome. Thank you very much.
And the guy even apologizes. He goes, "I'm not going to be here. I'm picking up my wife for the," and then he throws in everybody's links. So,
that's great.
Like, Marcus, you don't have to apologize. You don't, I should be doing this, but I'm getting lazy.
one thing that happens is I'm actually the opposite of Mr. Ramada. Is when I go back to paper, if someone wants something, that they can sell or I can sell, when I go back to paper and I make a mistake or I need to erase, I start double tapping the paper, like to erase the mistake. Yeah. I'm double tapping the fucking paper, and I'm like, oh God, I got to get the eraser out. That's actually weird. That feels weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Brittany, exactly.
Yeah.
So so I had the opposite mistake, and the digital is so much more close to the paper now. For me, there's no difference. And it's actually better for me. So everything's quicker, and honestly, like I like a clean. If I'm done with a regular 11x17 Bristol board, I like a clean board. Clean. I don't like smudges. I don't like whiteout. I like everything to be clean. And I remember Jim Lee talking about like a Frank Miller that he had bought. And with all the rain that Frank Miller does, like the whiteout is like an inch thick on the paper. But when you reduce it, when you reproduce it, you don't know that.
Right.
You don't know. It would I have OCD. It would drive me crazy.
I remember seeing like original Kirby art, like photographs. I never had it in person. And I was always like, oh, wow. Like back then they would cut out the word balloons and physically glue them to the page. And then you'd see the erases. And I'm like, oh, man, I was a silly kid. I thought everything was just drawn. You hand it right to the next guy. You know what I mean?
No, like, dude, I thought. Like I remember when I was like 14 and I was trying to emulate McFarlane. I'm like, how the hell does he get this detail? I'm drawing on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Like, I don't know. I don't know that they draw 11 by 17. And then McFarlane actually drew bigger at times.
Right. I remember learning about that they drew bigger and they shrank it.
I had no idea they even did that.
Because back when I entertained the idea of actually being an artist when I was like 10 years old, I would draw panels small on like I would get a comic book size piece of paper. I didn't realize. I was like, oh, that's cheated.
You didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So it's the whole, like, all the things that they did was just absolutely amazing to me. And stuff like that, unless and this is what's great about digital too, digital stuff like YouTube, is that you can, without working at a big studio next to people that had all these tricks on how to cheat this or cheat that because we got a time frame and we got to make this deadline. You don't know this stuff. And now you get to listen to interviews about people who were there. And it's like as close as you can get to working next to them. I love that too. I love listening to interviews while I'm drawing. So
did you go to art school?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Let me tell you though, it was an absolute waste of time. The best part about college for me was dropping out twice. I'm really good at dropping out. So that was the best.
That just means you stick to it.
Yeah. I got to be good at something. It's just it wasn't the right thing. But so I went to the University of Buffalo, and I was in their first year of their first illustration program.
Okay.
So they had, when I was there, first year, they never did it before. They had like graphic designers teaching illustration, and it was kind of a mess. And from day one, I wanted to do comics. My art teachers, I was the typical
like, what do you want to do that for? That's garbage.
They hated me.
They
hated me. They hated me, dude. So from like I had my high school teachers loved me and were also always frustrated with me because they knew I was a good artist, but I didn't want to draw a fucking boot with an apple in front of it. I wanted to draw comics. Leave me alone. I know what I want to do.
Punching somebody in the face and smashing
into the wall. Yes. I never wanted to do anything else. Like once I found, I was always a doodler. I was always an artist. Once I found comics, I was done.
How old were you when you found comics?
I believe, so I remember my friend coming over with Frank Miller's Wolverine. I believe I was in 7th grade.
Okay.
That's 7th grade, I believe. And then I was like, oh.
What is that? That's about 12 years old. That's a good
age. Yeah, right there. And then
are you the oldest or an only child?
I'm the oldest of two.
Okay.
I'm the oldest of two.
Because like I had 2 older brothers and 2 older sisters. So like there was always comics around back then.
You know what?
72, 73, everybody had comics. But
not me and my friends. Yeah, me and my friends, it was we did a lot of BMX, like we rode bikes, we rode skateboards. I was always chubby, so I was never really good at it.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. And so like it wasn't like we loved like Ghostbusters, we loved Aliens, the Ridley Scott Aliens. Ron actually quit the real world when he was 12. I did quit the real world. I was done with it by the time I was out of the womb, actually. So it was
around 12, it was all Star Wars, and then the Lord of the Rings cartoons.
Oh sure, yep.
That was it.
Yep.
And comic books, obviously.
So we loved all this stuff. We loved all the other media. None of us did comics though. And then when my friend Ryan came over, his name was Ryan. I remember it like it was yesterday. Ron, I got this. I was at we were at Eastern Hills Mall. I went into Walden Books. He's like, I got this comic. This guy is awesome. You can't kill him, and he's got claws. And it was Wolverine. It was Frank Miller's Wolverine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I read it, and immediately, like that night, he let me borrow it. I started copying, and I was always really good at not tracing. I was always really good at eyeballing everything, so I could get like a photocopy without tracing the actual picture, And then from there, I was just like you, just like everyone else. Once I said, okay, comic books exist. I need all of them.
Right.
So I was the kid at the drugstore every Wednesday, whatever, like I would just grab anything I could. And then I found Spider-Man, Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man #3. And I had not seen 1 and 2 there. I saw #3, and the cover was this chaotic, weird thing with Spider-Man walking towards the camera. Like, what the hell is this? I never saw Spider-Man drawn like that. And I already knew who Jim Lee was. He was already right there for me. But then I opened it up, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, I didn't think you were even allowed to draw comic books like that. It was boom. So immediately I became a McFarlaneite. Anything I did, it needed to be McFarlane. Admittedly, not the best person to copy. It gave me a sense of drama in comics, but not much else, because McFarlane was really good at hiding what he couldn't do, and I would have been better off probably with a more traditional person like Jim Lee or something, but I was McFarlane, man. I never saw nothing. The close-ups, like his close-ups were triple close-up compared to anyone else, and it was, I've never seen that before. And just blew my mind.
I remember showing my age. I was really into Infinity Incorporated, that comic.
Okay.
And that was McFarlane's first comic. It was borderline getting canceled, so they're like, give it to this guy.
Mm.
And I guess it's kind of rough compared to what his Spider-Man stuff. It was his first.
I've seen most of what he's done. It was, yeah.
You
could tell it was him, though. You could tell it was him.
And you could already see he was starting to play with, like, I remember he would have like a foot outside the panel, so that the person was stepping.
Yeah,
and it was actually like weird and different. And then I remember just like a big close up of an eye in one of the panels. I'm trying to remember which character it was. Oh yeah, because they said the guy had bird eyes, and there was a close up of his eye. And the next panel was a bird's eye. Just a lot of cool stuff that you didn't really see before. And I was like, oh wow, this guy's kind of interesting. And then I went to college, and my comics came to like a funnel, a funnel head. I didn't get, and next thing you know, Todd McFarlane was this is the guy from Infinity Incorporated. Oh my God, he canceled Infinity Incorporated. I didn't think he'd become a superstar, but there he goes.
Dude, he was, so McFarlane is one of those people that you could like trace everything he's done. I mean, trace like in his life history, and you're like, okay, I know he worked his ass off. That's understood, right? But holy shit, and he will absolutely say it in every interview, you've got to have a friend called luck. Yeah. And the amount of shit that had to fall into place when he was going for it, unbelievable, dude. And the fact that his old stuff, he went to school for graphic design. So that's why his stuff in the beginning was really designy, because he knew he couldn't draw. So he was already just really smart and knew how to. He's very street smart. And he knows how to play the angles. I've always respected him for that. I have trouble doing that.
He has a great work ethic, and he has a great business ethic, and he's drama free. Have you heard anything? Have you heard anybody talking about him?
No, not really.
Like he's professional. He's drama free, and
it's my boy Clark.
If you want to come on my channel, just search up Clark Mo Playtime.
Yeah, so Clark took over my YouTube channel.
Okay.
And he does his own channel called the Clark Mo Playtime.
Clark Mo Playtime.
You got your plug-in? See, he's already better at this than I ever was.
You owe me $10 for a plug, kid.
There you go. See, now you got to pay. That's how that works.
That you want to do business? You want to do business?
I love you. Get out of here. I love you, buddy.
That's cute. That's
at the door, okay? Thanks, buddy. So yeah, McFarlane.
He starts making $100,000 a month.
I know. He started. I think Brittany edits them all, and I think they're freaking hilarious. But I'm probably biased. So, but McFarlane was always like really smart like that, And it's like I always admire.
Treated his customers well. He was very respectful. If you saw him at a convention, he would shake your hand. He would look into your eyes. And I don't know if he was actually listening to you, but he made you think he was listening to you.
Which is what Stan Lee did.
Yeah.
He actually said he got his like convention type ethic from Stan Lee. He said, because when he first met Stan Lee as a fan, he said that about Stan. Stan made you feel like you were the most important person for those 3 minutes.
Yeah. And Todd would say that he wouldn't eat for a couple of hours before.
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't have to go to the bathroom.
Breaks,
Yep.
All stuff that is like, wow, that's really, really good, So
it's really good.
I'm trying to take a couple lessons. Like I tell, like before I say something, I'm stomach to mouth. As soon as I think of things, it comes out of my mouth. But I try to think, would Stan Lee say this? Which like I was telling Ron about an idea for a video that I don't think is a good idea.
No.
You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, would Stan do this? You know what I mean? Would Stan do this? That seems to be my model. Would Stan Lee do this? Would Stan Lee do that? I don't know. To go back to art school. So
none of my teachers liked me. I didn't like them. I didn't give a shit. I had my first girlfriend. I had my first apartment with my two best friends. The best part about being at college was not being at college. It was awesome.
Right.
But here's the thing. I was there for like 3.5 years.
My dorm room, a suite, and it was comic books and Dungeons and Dragons for like 4 days a week, and then, it was great.
Awesome.
The worst part about college was actually taking the classes.
Yeah, it really was. It really, especially. I mean, I'm a creative person. I also have dealt with a lot of mental illness in my life. So I've had a very wacky, rocky life, and so the thing about and this is my experience in art college, and that's I think a lot of it was because it was their first year of doing an illustration program, so they didn't know what they were doing either. Okay, but I was there for about 3.5. I can't remember 3.5 or 4 years. I didn't graduate. I could have learned what I learned there in that amount of time. You could have told me in 5 minutes, which is do this, don't do this, pay attention to this, and just be aware of that. That's really, that's that 3.5 years. That's all I learned. And the rest was me at home just practicing and practicing and practicing. Now, again, I think that's not most people's typical experience with art college. But if you want to be a comic book person, it's tough because how many, especially nowadays, like you might as well just stay home and learn online. There's online courses to do like how to draw comics. I forget his name, Clayton. I forget if it's his first name or his last name. Clayton has a great art academy of how to draw comics. I would highly recommend it. He's amazing. It's not Clayton. It's not Corey Barton, is it? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Clayton Moore?
No, is it Corey Barton or is it Clayton?
I don't know because I'm not an artist, so I don't watch.
I know, and I suck at names. I'm a freaking stupid man, and I suck at names. But
I'm terrible at names, but faces I'll remember to the day I die.
You can find it. Okay, listen, guys, whoever it is, I think it might be Corey Barton. I don't remember, but it's How to Draw Comics. It's an online academy.
I'll put it in the description.
It's an online academy, and it's really good. He's been around for a long time. His Facebook page is huge. How to Draw Comics. Most of you, if you're listening, you're artists, you'll know who I'm already talking about. You can stay home and do that. Don't go to art college. I will tell you though, there are certain things.
Like look at Marvel and DC. Look at all the new artists. Let's narrow it down to the people that were hired 10 years ago and less.
Mm.
Did they go to the School of Visual Arts? Did they go to the Kubert School? You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to think. New artists. I'm talking. 20-year-old
new artists. And here's the thing: because I haven't really collected any new books, I'm aware of what they look like, but I don't collect them because of what's going on. Right. I don't know if they went to traditional schools or not. And I will say,
I know the writers weren't.
Oh God, no, you don't need to,
see. That's I'm more of a writer. Like I will suffer bad art if the writing is good.
Dude, you've let me read one of your scripts, and it was really good.
Oh, thank you.
It was. And listen, I'm also a writer. I know if I'm known for anything, it's my art. But I was taking college English courses in high school. I'm a good writer, and I know what I'm reading. I love your story, buddy. I really did.
Thank you.
So yeah, you're gonna do just fine. But
for those who don't know what I'm talking about, I have a comic coming out called Heroic Tales, and it's Renzo Rodriguez is my artist until he decides he's sick with me. You know what I mean? Because I keep telling him I want to put his kids through college. I
love him, dude. I love him. He's so good.
Like there's only so many pages I want to show because I don't want to give away the whole comic.
Yeah.
I want you to turn the page. You're like, oh, it gets better and better and better with every page. But I also want to do, if I hit a stretch goal, I want to do an 8-page backup called Unheroic Tales. And I've been auditioning people for Unheroic Tales. Ron is one of the people. And I want to kind of have like a different artist every issue for showcase new people. You know what I mean? I think that would be fun. Renzo in the front, somebody in the back. And then again, if this is successful, I now I'm talking about myself when it's supposed to be about you. But
No,
I have
you
like
need to talk- no,
I had
no.
like an idea for a children's comic. I have an idea for a Western. And I have a lot of like scripts already because I used to just sit around and write scripts, but oh my God. But anyway,
Dude, you listen,
you
everything you
got me
do,
monologuing, you sly dog.
it's everything you do, everything behind you, it's all bright. It's all Clayton Barton. I think that's who it is. Yes. I think, did you check it out, Brittany?
I think this Brittany chick is stalking you.
I hope so. I hope she's stalking me. I'm the luckiest man in the world if she is. Yeah, I think it's Clayton Barton. How to Draw Comics. That's what it is. Thank you, buddy.
I'll check it out. I don't even pretend to draw. I'm looking around for because I will draw designs of costumes and I send it to Renzo.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around to see if I have one. It's laughable how bad they are,
No, he's been around for a long time doing the YouTubes, doing his Facebook, How to Draw Comics, and he launched, I think it was last year, he launched his online program. And I really think it's a top shelf program. And I don't know him personally. I've never talked to him, but you can just tell the people they have the passion. And the thing is, he's also really good. So yeah, there you go. Awesome. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. And so one thing I will say though about a traditional art school is my ego was too big for my britches at that time. And since then I've lost my ego. Once I found Pinterest, once Pinterest came about and I was like, holy shit, there's like 1 million people out there that are better than me. And before that, I live in a small town. I was the only artist. I'm the only artist on either side of my family. Everyone else is business. So I had no one to compare myself to. And once I did, it was a kick in the gut. And I'm like, oh my God, I suck. I'm like, I need to, and I really, it was weird. I needed an ego check and I got it some years ago. But when it comes to the traditional arts, there are things that you should know. You can't hide everything forever. It'll handicap you. You need to be able, especially for a freaking comic book artist who you're the wardrobe person, you're the makeup person, you're the set designer, everything. You have to fucking do everything. And whatever you don't do well, especially nowadays when people pick apart drawings with like a forensic type of fever, like, oh my, like you've got to be able to draw everything. And it's when if you sit there and think like, you've got it, you're the best, like they're like I've heard it before, and I'm guilty of saying this back in my 20s, like I'm better than half those artists at DC and Marvel. Why the hell won't they hire me? And so guess what? I wasn't. You need an ego check, and you need to be, and that's something that art school can definitely help you do, because there's going to be people that you're working side by side with that you're like, holy shit, that person's really good. I need to work harder. I didn't get that experience.
That I work with that draws like anime style, like it looks like Dragon Ball Z, but it's good. It's not particularly my favorite. I'm more of a old school superhero comic, but he showed me his art, because once he heard I'm making a comic book, he's like, oh yeah. So I said, listen, I'll give you a practice script. He goes, but you're gonna have to learn to draw the hand opening the doorknob. Yeah, you're gonna have to learn to draw, the guy getting out of the car.
Yeah.
And somebody, as much as we make that joke, you have to be able to draw two people sitting at a table having coffee, because every frame is not going to be a guy exploding with anger. Yeah. You know what I mean? I said, and then you're going to have to make, like I was explaining to him, the storytelling, how your mind's going to fill the gap. Like he had bad guys, and then over here, like the bad guy was on the right, the good guy was on the left.
Yes.
And the next panel, and they were facing us. And the next panel, he just inverted it. I go, but you should have switched them around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I said, this is a disconnect. I said, the person's not going to be able to articulate. I said, and that's the kind of thing that makes a comic book artist. I said, you are a good illustrator.
Yeah.
You're not a comic book artist, because and he was like, oh my, you know what I mean? And I think I said it in a way that I didn't hurt his feelings. I didn't deflate, but I think I said it in a way that he was like, oh, I never thought of that before.
Oh, absolutely.
This is a kid who watches cartoons. He doesn't read comics. You know?
Yep. Dude, there's so many tricks that I figured out just by studying comics. I never had anyone teach it to me. And there's so many little things that you don't know that you're seeing until finally one day you're like, oh, holy shit. And then you notice, hey, this is what every really good comic artist does. I didn't see it before, you know? There's so many things like that really make the difference. The rule of thirds that, at least when I was trying to get better, no one taught me. Like the rule of thirds may be more well known now in a graphic design sense, in the cropping of an image. I didn't know that. I was just kind of eyeballing it to see if it kind of looked good. Learning the rule of thirds, it's makes everything easiar.
What is that? I don't even know. Again, I'm not
okay. So rule of thirds. If anyone doesn't know, if you have like an 11, like let's say you have a square, okay, you got a square. You put 2 lines, and then you have 1, 2, 3 boxes, okay, and then you put 2 lines going that way. All right. Now, the focus of if you have 2 people in the frame, one person is going to hit kind of this dot up here, and one person's eye line is going to
hit Peter Brady, and the other one will hit
Brady. Exactly. So the rule of thirds helps you properly frame and organize each single panel.
It's funny because I was saying that to the kid at work, that like I was like, if you want to do a comp, I said, where's the word balloon going to go in this image?
Yeah.
I said, there has to be words. A comic book is words and pictures. And this is a cool guy punching another cool guy. I said, but if anywhere I put the word balloon, I'm going to cover up some good. So you have to always think,
yep,
put the guy a little bit over here so that the word balloon, I can't even pantomime properly because I'm backwards in the camera. You know what I mean? But you have to put the word balloon over here. So you got to give a little bit of negative space.
Dude, you know, for me, like,
and this is a kid, he thought, and I'm sure he is a good, he could draw a good figure, you know, and all the guys are like, oh man, that's excellent. You know, he could draw Dr. Doom, but like,
he's a good illustrator. He's a good illustrator. Comic book and illustration is 2 different things, and that's okay. That's all right. But yeah, so now there's the rule of thirds in one panel.
I kind of knew that, but I didn't know that that's what it was called.
You didn't know,
I knew that until you explained it to me.
Yeah. So now you have the rule of thirds in one panel, but there could be up to 6 panels on the page.
Yeah, and we have to leave room for the coffee cups that say Starbucks. You know, right? You know what?
And then you need the rule of thirds for the entire page as well, so the page is balanced. I'm just now getting better at page balancing.
Do you have how to draw comics the Marvel way?
I do. That was the first one I ever got.
I bought that. I love it, even though I don't. It's just that gave me a lot of ideas, especially for like placement of word balloons.
Yeah.
And panels, because when I first wrote a script for a comic like 10 years ago, and I just wrote, and I'm realizing I'm putting like 37 panels on a page.
Yeah.
So then I cut it down to wall of text at each panel, wall of text, you know. And then that book and the Will Eisner book made me realize, like, I say something, Ron responds. That's a panel. Next panel, Ron says something, respond. Maybe a quick little whatever over here. You know what I mean? Like, and it just makes everything flow. You know, you don't have that. And that's how I know that these Marvel writers are not people who are like, I said this with Matt Barr when he was on my channel. It's like, here I am. I'm the guy. I'm Joe Quesada. I'm Dan DiDio or whoever. I don't even know who. CB Cebulski. You come walking in. I want to write comic books. I want to draw a comic book. Okay, cool. Show me your comic book collection. That's the first question. Show me your comic book.
That's awesome.
I don't want to see a phone. Like, I want to see long boxes, and I want to see comics that have white lines from opening. You know, and then tell me like, how do you think about Aquarian? Who the hell's Aquarian? Next. Like, you got to know if you want to be in the business. Like, I couldn't imagine a sports announcer sitting down for a job interview and then not knowing Ted Williams and not knowing like Pete Rose and his stat numbers. You know what I mean? That's what you do. You want to get to the very top, and like it or not, Marvel and DC is the tip top. you've got to be tip top of the fans. You know, like you can't just, unless you are just like some super talent that just stepped in laterally, and you know, there's always room for that too. But like,
you would think,
I don't think that a lot of these people at Marvel and DC were those types of people. You know,
well,
like,
we know. I mean, honestly, it's been long enough, buddy. We know for a fact that they weren't those kinds of people.
No,
that's not why they were hired.
I'm being nice.
Yeah, they're not. And for whatever it's, I mean, it doesn't really matter. We're not saying it's good or bad. We're just saying I'm stating a fact. They weren't comic fans. We know that. And the thing is, like, people tend to forget, like, Marvel doesn't own Marvel and DC doesn't own DC. They're owned by bigger companies, and those bigger companies are owned by mostly, well, if you want to look at the main shareholder of all the shares, it's one of two companies. And I won't say them on your channel, but it's not hard to figure out. Those companies have an agenda that trickles down to every single company under their umbrella. Marvel and DC Comics are just one of them. Right. That's just it. And like it or not, I mean, it sucks. I want to collect. Well, I'm so broke right now, I can't collect comics. So I'm kind of glad that nothing's been happening for the past 6 years.
Got to hit the stretch goal so we could throw some money at Ron.
Oh, right? Yeah. Well, at the end of it, it'll be great because at the end of this year, knock on wood, very quietly, I'll be taking over the store that I manage, and I will finally have an income for me and my family. And right now we're just surviving, you know, literally on pennies. So I'll finally have an income, and I'll be able to still do work for people, but I'll also be able to do like one page for my comic, one page for them.
What is your comic? Let's give you a plug.
Well, I don't really. My comic most likely will still be Sector 7 with my friend Matt Boyce. If he's right now, he's going to relaunch Sector 7 on Kickstarter. I don't know when, because when he gave me this idea, I said, buddy, you know, like I have to get paid to draw. I can't do it for free. So I want to do Sector 7, but I can't work for free until I get the store.
You don't want now after on the back end?
What's that?
Yeah,
a back end deal. Yeah, I've heard.
I'm something not to be. I'm being dramatic right now.
I heard something about back end deals, and there's quite a fervor.
I said to everybody, I'll do with Jedi mind trick.
Yeah, no, I heard something of. Yeah, I don't know. They seem like a good or bad thing depending on who's yelling the loudest. Yeah, I've had a sore throat because the pressure keeps going up and down, and my sinuses just explode. So I told Matt, I was like, I don't know if you should launch Sector 7 yet, and I said, if you do, totally cool, but I'm super busy, and this is going to be your campaign now, because like I'm saying wait till I get the store, but if you want to do it now, totally cool. That being said, whatever happens, Sector 7, in my opinion, I've read Matt's writing. Anyone who wants to read some really good writing, go to Inside Sector 7 on Twitter, and Matt posted one of the main characters' journal entries.
Oh, cool.
I had never. So what Matt is doing through the journal entries is giving a backstory to Sector 7 before it comes out. I had never read Matt's writing. I'd only created and gone through idea processes with him. I was fucking blown away.
Cool.
And Matt's an English teacher. He knows what he's doing. And I mean, he's not like a blue-haired English teacher. He's an old school, let's read the classics English teacher, okay? He can write. Holy shit, dude. So anyone who wants to enjoy those, please feel free. Inside Sector 7, he's posting them whenever he does them. They're wonderful. And it's going to give a backstory to something I really, even though it's I co-created it, as I'm not writing it, I want to finish that out. I want Sector 7 to see print. And so that'll be what I consider, you know, one for me, while I'm also doing one for someone else. I still want to do stuff for other people. So
yeah, I saw your art when you said how much detail could I possibly put in one drawing. I was like,
that cityscape, yeah.
That was cool. That was really cool.
Let me tell you,
did you have to color that yet?
No. There's so much black on there. There's no need. I think coloring, unless it was like a light wash or something, I don't think.
Do you color? Do you color too?
I don't. Okay. So I have my friends and my wife yell at me because they think I can color. I can't fucking color. I really can't. I know what I can do. I can't color. I can pump out a colored piece once in a while, and I hit it and I get lucky, and I try to do something more, and I want to rip my hair out. So what I can do is I've gotten good enough to, if someone gives me some base tones, I can work off that. All right. But like if I was to put down like the color of pavement, all right, let's say I'm just drawing a street and I want to put down the color of the street. In my mind, it's gray. It's not gray though. The street isn't gray. It's a different tone that I can't really comprehend in my mind. That's where
I thought I could color until I tried it and I realized this,
it's a whole different
I'm an electrician. I can't spackle. When I did
exactly.
I hired a spackler because I knew I was going to be looking at it for the rest of my life, and I'd rather have it done properly. So
if I have some people
hire the specialist. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I fancy myself a writer. I'm not calling myself a writer.
Yeah.
I'm hiring guys that could do it.
And that's really what you got to do. That's really what you got to do because, like I said, if you put down some base tones, I can do it. I can even color if you go on my Facebook, which I think is just Romo Art or Romo 2 Art. I'm so bad at fucking marketing. I can't remember my own Facebook thing, but if I'll do like character and vehicle designs. Well, the vehicle designs, the base tone was put down by a different colorist, and it was a good start, but it wasn't what I wanted. So I went in and jazzed it up. And then I did some characters that I colored. And dude, I had a great time doing it. They look great. In my opinion, I got lucky. Because I swear to God, if I tried to do it right now, I couldn't get the colors right. You know what I mean? I'm not a colorist.
Because I have like 30-year-old files of writing, and every once in a while I'm like, oh, look at this. I'm like, who wrote this? This is pretty good. I wrote this. I was good back then.
Dude, I've done that. Yeah, I've done that. I used to work in an art store, and the managers all loved me. So they would give me when they changed the receipt paper, there was still paper on there. They'd give me those as stuff in my apron pocket, and I would write stories on there. And he just gets lucky every single time. See, it's a good girl. She is stalking me. Thank God. I've been so lonely. So I would write stories on the receipt papers. I still have those receipt papers. Like,
what's funny? I did the same exact thing. I worked at this hamburger place out in Albuquerque, and we had those tickets, and we put them up, and I'd cook the burgers. I was the short order cook.
Yeah,
the burgers and everything. No beard at that time, so there was no hair in the food, and then I'd take the receipt, and we would stab them.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the night, I would take them off, and I would write stories. Like during a slow period. And it's funny because I didn't realize it, but my roommate worked with me. He took a whole stack of them and he threw them in a box. And I forgot about that box. I moved, I put it in storage. And then when I moved here, I was going through all my boxes. I'm like, what are we? Because, the hamburger grease, it turns the paper, loosen it in yellow. I'm like, what the hell is it? And then I look and it's literally 1-page short stories.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. I still can't remember his last name. So I'm trying to look him up. So I just wanted to call him up and read him to him and then hang up. And then like a week later, call him up and read him and see if he would remember.
It was, I'm telling you, but I know exactly what you're talking about because I will read some of the stuff I wrote when I was 25. And I'm like, holy shit, I couldn't write this now. Sometimes it doesn't matter where you are in life. Sometimes you do hit a zone. And that might not be your permanent zone, but it's right there. And then hopefully it comes back.
Sometimes I'm at work and, it's electrician. So you're doing something complex, but it turns into a routine. Like you got to do it 90, 100 times and it'll take you like 2 days. So like the foreman will, okay, John, they trust you. They leave you alone. And I just get into this muscle memory and I'm like, I just wrote a comic book script in my head. I'm like rushing to coffee break so I could dictate it down and remember it.
Oh, I used to keep a notepad.
Yeah, I don't do that at work.
Nerd.
It's freezing out, so I got these thick gloves on.
Yeah.
I can't manipulate my phone. I got my tools in my hand.
Yep.
And if I turn around and I'm typing on my phone, the foreman's gonna be like, "What?" So I gotta like remember these stories. Or sometimes I'll dream an entire movie. And I'm like, "Oh my god,
I've never done that.
Oh, wow. I gotta get. Then I get on the train. I'm like, "What was that again?" Well, it's gone. It's lost.
Dude, like I used to enjoy writing more than drawing. Like in my 20s, I actually enjoyed writing more than drawing. It was so much easier for me because all I would do is just copy down what the voices in my head were saying.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even trying. And with art, because I deal with anxiety, and that's something that the digital stuff really helped a lot with too. When I need a clean page at the end, but I have anxiety, it's hard to start putting that black down, you know? On digital, it's nothing but 2 taps of your finger and it's gone forever. And it's so much easier. So it really helped deal with anxiety.
And it gets rid of the last line you drew or something?
Yeah. And if you keep tapping, it'll go like 50 lines back.
Oh my god! So
just like that,
and they never come back. Like you can't. Like,
never.
So have you ever tapped and got rid of stuff you wanted?
No. Okay. The answer is yes, I have, but it would only be like a line or two. So you know what I mean? It would never be like a whole figure or something like that.
There goes the Chrysler building. I got to draw it all over.
Yeah, again. No, because you never draw the Chrysler building with one continuous line.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, right. So yeah.
I don't know why, but that just made me nervous when you told me that.
No, and that's the great thing.
Yeah.
Yep. So I mean, there's been so many things that have, and I know I'm a little old. I mean, I'm 47, and most people hit their peak at like in their 20s for art, but during my 20s I was dealing with mental illness and also taking care of my mother who was severely mentally ill. There's like a chunk of 20 years missing from my life, from 20, and I'm not kidding, from 20 to about 40. And 40, my mom passed away when I think I was 38 or 39. And then at 40, me and Brittany got to get Ron 68. Yeah. And then when I was 40, I got my wife Brittany, and then I had my son a year later. So my life just started. And I wasn't like I understand without being in egotistical. I understand that I'm a capable artist. I won't say I'm great. I'm a capable artist, but even 2 years ago, I wasn't as good as I am now.
Well, you're getting better and better every day. You know,
I'm just hitting like I'm in my 40s. I'm hitting my stride. You know what I mean? It's interesting. And it's good because a lot of people by their 40, especially in comic books, they're burnt out already. So, and then they got the second half of their life to work at, Tim Hortons. Like, I can stay away from Tim Hortons, and now I got the second half of my life to finally start doing what I've always wanted to do. But life just got in the way, It's I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
Life. I wanted to be a comic book artist, and then I mean, I wanted to be a comic book writer, and I sent like ideas to DC and Marvel like in my 20s, like thinking, oh my god, they're gonna I would just mail them and then I'd sit by the phone waiting. They're gonna love,
they're gonna love it.
Yeah. And then you had to get a job. I had to pay bills. Next thing I'm teaching school, and then next thing I'm I work in construction, which I never thought I would do, and now I this whole comic skate, this whole independent comics thing, I really do thank it. I really do love it. Even right now with all of this infighting, I'm just kind of like, okay, you guys get this out of your system. I don't think it's good, but what am I going to do about it? But I really do love it. And that's why it bothers me so much that everybody's fighting. You know what I mean? First off, Kelly Sue DeConnick is just laughing at us. So that drives me nuts right now. And then second off, I don't like it when my friends fight. And believe it or not, like John Malin doesn't know who I am, but I consider him a friend because I've been buying his comics for so long and listening to him talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As stalkery as that sounds, you know what I mean? I wish him the best. Kelsey, I'm saying his name wrong. Kelsey Shannon was just on my channel. We hit it off like gangbusters.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't want these guys fighting, but I feel like I owe him a big debt because I'm like Richard C. Meyer, your boy Zach. I saw this guy make a comic book. He was just a frustrated fan like me, you know. I think he's maybe 10 years younger than me, and he's already making a comic book. He had a guy who drew the X-Men doing his comic book. Then he's hiring Chuck Dixon. I'm like, I could do this. I could do this. You know, so
you can.
So, and now that I'm finally about to launch, everybody's fighting. I'm trying not to get disheartened. You know what I mean? I'm trying to stay.
There's no reason. Like, here's the thing that I understand that people love the word community and people need community.
I just do it justice. Crom, Tim Hortons is. I'm drinking it right now, and I don't have diarrhea. And if you don't believe me, come on over and check.
I've always been a loner, and I've never really felt like I belonged anywhere. I'm used to this. I'm used to people fighting. I actually don't expect much different. Humans are very strange people to me. And so I don't. Yeah, people are fighting. Some things are coming out in a ways that maybe we don't agree with. Some things are coming out that maybe should come out, even though it's in ways we don't agree with. Here's the thing: the indie market is so strange, John. I'm telling you now, no one, even though Comicsgate is one of the biggest things, if not the biggest part of the indieverse at this point. The indieverse isn't new, and Comicsgate still, in my opinion, and I have no issue with anybody. Everyone's cool with me. In my opinion, the indie world still runs on the fact that if they don't like you, they're not buying your comic. And if they like you, they'll buy your comic, even if it's half as good as it should be.
I was just
people love John.
There was a couple of guys that, well, first off, thank you. I absolutely love. I love the comics. I'm not mentioning. It just went blank for a second, but I don't want to mention names. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But I'm like, you know, you gotta in this field, you gotta sell. Like for me, nobody knows my writing. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows I'm you know what I mean. So they are buying me in a very real sense, and I know that's true because there's guys that I probably wouldn't have bought their comics 6-7 months ago, but after I talk to them and after I interact with them, I'm like, I like these guys, and I could spend $8 and then $8 shipping. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's a trip to diarrhea coffee, as Crom says.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Coffee and a donut.
It's the truth, buddy.
These really guys are good guys, you know, and because I spent $7 on a shit Marvel comic.
Yeah. No matter what's happening to, like, Comicsgate it's still not a company.
Glass with the patriarch symbol on it.
Nice. Yeah. Comicsgate still isn't a company like DC or like Marvel, where you can say Marvel sucks, or you can say Comicsgate sucks, but there's so many different personalities in Comicsgate, as we see now,
right?
That Comicsgate is still a collection of individuals.
Yeah, I got two things to say about that. You're absolutely right. First off, we're individuals, you know.
Yeah,
and that's the thing, and we tend to gravitate towards the same politics, which I'm not going to get into because we're not a politics thing, but we tend to, you know, it's we're more individuals, we're more like freedom minded and you know, less big government minded. I'll leave it at that. I don't think that's
I think we all know. We are
individual, and what do individuals do? They want to do what they want to do.
Yeah,
and you know, my neighbor over there, he's an individual. Paint your house purple. That don't bother me. You know what I mean? Because my house is going to be green, or you know what I mean? Like, but you go into the DC, I do think that they got more of a big government, say, outlook, you know, collectivist look, and you know, and that's why I don't think guys like Dan Slott would do good here, even though he's a phenomenal comic book writer. I am a fan of Dan Slott, and personally, he irks me, but I don't think he would do good here because he's not going to sell his personality. He's not the individual. Like, he needs a huge support
group.
He
needs a structure around him to keep him propped up. Yeah.
And the other thing I want to say about Comicsgate is, you know, I'm dying to get like Kelly Sue DeConnick or Heather Antos or Gail Simone on my channel. I really am. Like, and I'm not going to come out nasty or anything like that. I don't believe in that. You don't win people by smacking them in the face. You win people by showing kindness, reason, logic, and a little bit of humor. But I want to say to these people, like especially, oh my God, Mark Wade would be the greatest guest in the world, and
Mark
I just
Wade,
like,
really,
yeah, and I would say, like, I don't know what religion are you? Are you a Gentile? This is how I would say it. Like, are you Jewish, Ron? I don't know.
Oh, me? No,
no,
I'm not anything.
So you are a Gentile, right?
Okay.
Okay. Did you decide to become a Gentile? Did you join a group to become a Gentile?
Oh, no.
Other people labeled you a Gentile and you had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
That's the way it is with Comicsgate. When Mark Wade canceled Richard C. Meyer, your boy Zach's comic book, Jawbreakers, and got it kicked out of the direct market, and then he had to go crowdfund, Mark Wade, created Comicsgate. Mark Wade labeled your boy Zach. And then when Ethan Van Sciver got canceled and kicked out, and John Malin kicked it, they didn't join a group. They were assigned a group. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I can't leave Comicsgate. I can't leave being a Gentile. The only way to leave being a Gentile is to convert to Judaism. So unless I work for Marvel or DC or Image, we're Comicsgate. And I find all of this like soul searching. Comicsgate is a group defined by the other people. The outsiders defined us, and then we embraced it, ran with it. We loved it. You know what I mean? But just like there's Roman Catholic Gentiles, there's Buddhist Gentiles, there's Protestant Gentiles, there's Muslim Gentiles, and they fight amongst themselves, but they're still Gentile. And that's the way I look at Comicsgate. We are defined by other people defined us. And, and that's the way it is. And the only way to leave is to join Marvel or DC or Image. So
I've never thought about it like that. And that is interesting. And I can't say everyone would agree with that, especially indie people who don't like CG. But I never thought of it that way. And that's definitely a very interesting take.
Well, I want to explain that to Mark Wade. Like, you labeled us something and then get mad at us, but you created us. Like, you're Dr. Frankenstein and we're the creature.
Yeah.
As the creature, we just wanted to be loved by the creators. We wanted to be loved by Marvel and DC. I don't think, maybe I'm being naive, but I don't think there's anybody in Comicsgate that didn't love Marvel and DC and Image at some point.
No, it'd be impossible. I would dare to say it'd be impossible.
Right. We all I can't think of anybody who's like, I never liked Spider-Man. I never liked the Fantastic Four. I never liked Superman. I never liked Bat. I didn't like Youngblood. I didn't like Spawn. We all loved those things. And then we wanted to embrace those things. We wanted those things to love us and say, you're good, little pat us on the hiney and give us but they cast us aside.
Yeah.
And then they got mad that we fire rage. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to see Mark. Of course, Mark Wade would cancel and leave within 5 minutes of talking to me. But I would love to explain that to him. This is your creation.
See, here's the interesting thing, though. Here's the interesting thing, because I look at it like certain groups, especially politically, have quite a high rate of narcissism and borderline disorder. Okay. And one thing a narcissist hates, if they ever cast you out, it kills them to see you doing good, to the point where they'll come back into your life just to ruin it. So, I mean, I see these personality traits in these large groups, in these large corporations. And I think the corporations on top that own the corporations, on the bottom, in my opinion, I think half of them are demons. I truly think when you get closer to the top, you're going so far to the bottom, man. It is dark and high narcissistic psychopathic tendencies. I really see it. And then all you got to do, dude, if you're one of these huge companies that owns 200 companies beneath you, and Marvel's one of them, it takes one email and just CC everybody. Hey guys, for the next 20 fucking years, this is the way we're going. I own 51% of the stock. My decision. CC everybody, and guess what?
And they'll change the whole philosophy of.
They'll change reality. Change reality.
There are all of the stuff coming out about the Avatar: The Last Airbender, a Netflix show. Zuko's not going to be scarred because He's a child, and that's child abuse. Zoka is not like this jerky kid who grows. So why are you making Avatar: The Last Airbender? If you have that much of a problem with the source material, then don't adapt it. But
I know.
You know what I mean? So this is stuff by committee, and that's, I think, is what I like about Comicsgate is, for the most part, it's one vision. It's one person. I'm writing my story. Renzo's drawing my story. I got another guy colored my story, and then I'm going to do a backup story. But it's mostly, there's 4 people involved in my comic book at most. You know.
Yeah.
You got Sector 7. It's you and your buddy. You know, you don't have a committee telling you, oh, you know what, you need to I don't know. I'm making
not at all.
But your main character needs, kids like dinosaurs, so change that guy into a dinosaur. Oh, they also like robots. Oh, so he's a dinosaur robot. You know, what does this have to do with the story?
Yeah,
watch.
I know.
It's about a dinosaur robot, but you know,
it's a weird balance that artists have talked, and honestly, McFarlane talks about it quite often. Is that it's artists and corporations. There's a weird balance that needs to be struck, and it's rarely ever healthy. But artists need corporations because most artists, I'm one of them, suck at the selling, at the merchandise. You know, they just want to be left alone, like me, and fucking draw and just do cool shit.
Well, look at Simon and Siegel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just created Superman, and then they turned around and realized, wait, all the stuff's on lunchboxes and T-shirts.
But that's the dark side of the corporate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But corporate needs creators because they're business people. They can't create.
Well, I always bring up, the example I always bring up, it's probably like the 3rd time I told the story. So if you guys are bored, I apologize. But Gene Simmons was given an interview. Gene Simmons of Kiss.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was, some guy called in the radio show. I was like, hey, Gene, I'm a singer-songwriter and I play guitar. He goes, and I don't want a corporation telling me what to do. So like I want to do everything about my band. And Gene's like, okay, you sound like a good guy. He goes, but I'm gonna believe that you're a good singer. I'm gonna believe that you're a good songwriter, and I'm even gonna believe that you're a good guitar player. But are you a good manager? Are you a good lawyer? Are you a good tech guy? Are you a good lighting expert? Are you a good marketer? Are you a good promoter and advertiser? He goes, and then Gene Simmons in his typical goes, even I can't do all of that.
Yeah,
but he's absolutely right. So I can't color. I can't draw. Yep. I got Nick Axe working for me because I don't know graphic design. You know what I mean? Like I attempted to build my fund my page campaign page, and it was embarrassing. I don't know how to do that. So I'm reaching out to the experts. So, but I'm not reaching out to a corporate, and I find that to be funny that all the artists, the true artists, the Mark Wade's art and blah, 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 they're nothing without this corporate world that is propped up by, like what you said, 9 pillars of 3 degrees of separation to like the Illuminati. You know what I mean? That's what they need to prop them up. And then all the bad people down here are the true artists. You're over here running a store so you could work with your buddy to draw pages at night. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't got Mickey Mouse throwing money at you.
It becomes very it can make you very bitter. I used to be a lot more bitter, and my wife probably would still say I am bitter, but I'm better than I was. But it drives you crazy, and then you kind of realize, like, okay, let me look out of my little corner, which is called comic books, and wait, the entire world is this way. So I either have to just learn to live with it, do the best I can in it, or I don't know what, the other option really isn't that fun to think about. So it's like, I have a family now. I have a family, and time for bitching is over. I don't give a shit anymore. I literally, anything outside of my front door, John, I swear to God, and I love you to death, but anything outside my front door, I couldn't care less about. I care about what's underneath my roof. That's what keeps me alive. That's it. And I want to do the best I can for them.
I was a bitter, angry person too for a long time. If you met me in my 20s and 30s, that's I'll.
Me too. No, dude, me too. I got me too.
I would probably want to fight myself. You know,
absolutely.
And there's times where I find that person coming back. But one day I just said to myself, is that guy taking anything away from me? Then why is it bothering me?
Yeah.
And that became like, you know, Eric July made Isom. He made $3 million on his comic book. Did he take anything away from me? No.
No.
You know, he
not
took
at all.
nothing away from me. So why should I? Matter of fact, it showed me how high it could go if I make a comic book. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Ethan Van Sciver has made $400,000 on Cyberfront. Did he take anything away from me? No.
Nope.
As a matter of fact, both of these two gentlemen have been on my channel. They gave stuff to me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like,
absolutely. And I hate the old version of me. I mean, I truly despise it. And when I see it in other people, that's like an automatic trigger for me.
Shape than me.
What's that?
I just like that my old me was in better shape than me.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like I'm a weird guy. Like I want everyone to be happy. I want everyone to be happy, successful. I don't care who you are. And at the same time, I have this weird like shut off switch that I honestly just it's weird to say, like, I only care about what's underneath my roof. That's all I can control. And I had to let the rest go because I think it's because I spent a large portion of my life taking care of other people while trying to save the world with my information that it's like, guys, do you know who's running this? Guess what? No one fucking cares.
Is Brittany and I'm wasting me fatty right now?
Hey, she may be talking to someone else in the chat.
Chops.
Some of us narcissists are nice people, yeah. So like I realized, you know, I love humanity. Like, okay, I love humanity and I want everyone to be happy. People exhaust me. That's kind of how I am, you know.
I take from George Carlin, who I consider a philosopher. He says, I love people, I love the individual, but groups terrify me.
Oh, I stay away from groups.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
One-on-one, he goes, you get and I'm the same way. Like, look at this. Me and you would talk right now. If there was 9 people, it looked like
I wouldn't be saying much.
Sitting there, shut off. But
I'd be right next to you.
People. And then when we have groups, we start having ideas and dogmas and beliefs, and then next thing you know, that social phenomenon where people just follow what other people say against, like we saw it during COVID, you know. And like, oh man, if I was the Nazis, I'd be beating up the Nazis. No, you wouldn't. We learned that most Americans would be pulling the switch in the gas chambers, you know.
Absolutely.
You know,
most Americans would have been calling on their neighbors. And really, I'll tell you, dude.
We had Jimmy Kimmel saying, if you're not vaccinated, you should die. And everybody's laughing.
Dude, I thought I had like no hope for humanity. And apparently I must have been harboring some hope because during all of that, I was so sad for the state of people. I couldn't believe I somewhere inside me, I must have still thought we were better than that. And it just killed me. I fucking hated it.
I lost most of my friends during the whole COVID thing because I was like,
I don't have friends. I don't keep friends. I have a family. My one friend, actually the co-creator of Sector 7, Matt, he lives a few blocks from me, lives same town, a few blocks from me. He's the only person that ever comes over or I go over there. It's very rare. We both have families. Once I had my first kid, once I had Clark at 41, I was done. I was done because holy cow, I'll tell you, raising a kid, wow, especially when you're too tired to chase after them because I'm already 41 years old.
Yeah.
I was 70 pounds heavier than I am now.
Yeah, Bill Burr movie, Old Dads.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, when you don't sleep for weeks, you learn really quick what needs to be directly important to you and what can be let go. And most of things can be let go.
You'll learn, 47. I read someplace that said that men are happiest in their 50s. And I thought that was the biggest pile of BS ever, but I'm 55 and I've never been happier.
John, I'm happier now than I've ever been. And I know that may seem crazy to my wife.
Happier.
But I swear, I really am. I'm happier now than I've ever been. I'm at a point where right now I've had to turn down a few offers of work because I've got so much to do. I've never had that before. And I always tell people though, listen, anyone out there listening, I'm always open for a cover. I'm always open for promotional art, interior work. I just can't handle right now. Well, I can. It's just that I'm doing it for other people. Hojo actually booked me for the summer. But here's the thing. Things change really quickly. What's that?
You gonna be working on the mythicals?
I don't know if it's the mythicals or a different project. I have no idea. But he got in touch with me. So he booked me for the summer. But here's the thing. It's the indie world. Anything can change. So keep the offers coming. I'll keep, thank you to everybody. And I feel really blessed.
A lot of these starving artists, I've been giving them work,
Yeah, dude, it helps.
I never hear from them again,
Really?
Yeah, a lot of these guys, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Okay, this is what I need from you. I need this. Okay. What can you? Okay, I'll get. And then months go by, and I'm like messaging.
Really? Holy shit!
They ghosted me, so I'm like, all right,
dude. If I text,
my circle is getting smaller and smaller of the people.
If I text you,
out to people, and I'm pleasant,
yeah.
But,
if I text you or anybody, this is just how I am. If I text someone at like 10 a.m. and I don't hear from them by like 10:30, I'm like, oh shit, are they mad at me? Did I say something? You know what I mean? Like, fuck no. Give me I'll do whatever I can if I can do it for anybody.
Well, I'm always afraid of being a pest. No, Marcus, you're not bothering me. Marcus is never bothering me.
I keep that.
What I do is I live because I'm afraid of being a pest. I've never been a boss before, and I don't consider myself a boss. I consider myself like a co-creator or working together. But just Fridays, I send out emails on Fridays to Renzo, to all the guys working with me, and hey, it's Friday. How you doing? Is everything okay? Do you need anything? Everything
That's
cool?
great.
You know what I mean? And then I always say we're caught up on pay because I'm terrified of missing a payment. Like I try to pay instantly. When somebody shows me the work, I pay right then and there.
That's
and
awesome.
Then I don't want to develop a reputation as a guy who pays late or doesn't pay but I'm
why the hell would you? I mean, that's a death sentence. Why? I mean, look how quickly things get thrown out on Twitter. Like you do it once.
I got my Heroic Tales notebook. I'm keeping like tabs, mostly for myself. I don't want to develop a bad reputation.
No, and just the fact that you're that aware of it, it's not possible for you. Unfortunately, reliable artists is a rarity.
Yeah, I'm not making news, but a couple of guys I gave work to, and oh yeah, that sounds great. Oh yeah, that's excellent. Well, yeah, all right. And then I'm like, should I pay you now? No. Pay me when we're done. Well, dude, I got the money set aside. I want to.
Yeah, I'm not that comfortable getting paid ahead of time, and sometimes I've been paid ahead of time before. Like Chris Faction paid me ahead of time for like 10 pages, and holy shit, I needed it. But I just like to keep things very, very straight and narrow. I don't like paying ahead. Like I like things 1-to-1. You know what I mean?
I paid Renzo ahead on a bunch of pages, and all it did was make it difficult for me to remember when it was time when we were caught up.
Yeah.
So I had to go back through my records, the bank statements, you know what I mean? Because I was terrified of like, oh, did I not pay him? Like, I forgot. Did I cover this already?
Yeah.
And so I messaged Renzo, and Renzo goes, I don't like being paid beforehand. I was like, okay. I paid him for a bunch of pages because I don't like having bills.
It's situational. For me, I don't like it, but because until I get this store, we're living penny to penny. I need it sometimes. So I welcome it, but it's not, I'm a worrier. You know what I mean? I worry. So it's like, oh God, I'm really tired. I got Clark's karate tomorrow night. Work has been crazy, but like, Mark Mulgrave is paying me ahead of time for pages for his story that I'm doing the well. And immediately I just start feeling bad. I'm like, shit, I only got one page done this week. I'm a fucking asshole. Like, it's tough.
John Byrne always says that don't pay me for a commission until I'm done.
Yeah, no, I would prefer that. I really
and he
would.
says, because if you don't like it, I'm John Byrne. Somebody else will buy it.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Right now, I like it because I need it, but it's not like when I get the store, I won't take I won't do prepaid. Like I can't. I just start to feel like an asshole if I don't get 2 pages done no matter what this week. You know what I mean? And I'm still finishing up the lettering for Chris's comic, Nano 13. Work for the mouthy clients who say, well, what did I pay you for? So it's scary for artists sometimes.
I could
yeah.
see that. And believe me, when I'm so happy I found Renzo, because he'll submit pages and I'm like, oh, cool. And then he's like, what do you want me to change? I'm like,
yeah,
that looks exactly what I it, and it's exactly what it's almost like, because I saw his artwork and it's like, this is like a perfect mix of John Byrne and George Perez.
Yeah.
And I was literally picturing, and then I sent it to him. There's a few times when it was slightly different, but I'm like, that's kind of better than what I thought.
Yeah.
But you know, and there's a few times when I'm telling people, oh, could you change this and do that? And I feel so guilty. Like, and then it's funny because they're like, yeah, he just had to tap 3 times, it was gone, and then you know what I mean? Like I'm thinking
that's
that
how I am too. And hey, digital, right? Digital, exactly. I can white it out in 2 seconds. You'll never know it was there. I'll redraw it in like an hour. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like a couple of color changes, and I realized it was just because of poor communication. Like, okay, it's gone, and I was like, oh, okay. I didn't realize it was easy, you know.
Zach, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
it does get more awkward.
Absolutely. That's why I do Fridays. Like, I figure once a week, I'm not a pest, and the guys will expect it. Like Renzo now sends me messages on Thursday. He goes, you know, he beats me to the punch. You know.
I've been really lucky. Whatever I sent Chris, he's always loved. And whatever I send Mark Mulgrave right now, he's loved. He even like on the first page, he asked me to change, but I sent him the sketch first, not the page. He was like, can you make it more on a hill? I was like, yeah, no problem. I kind of wanted that anyways. So I did that.
That's what he sent me rough sketches, and then he, you know.
Oh yeah, I would never just send a finished page. I would consider that like possibly wasting my own time, because
you send you a rough thumbnail, and okay, and I pictured like stick figures. He said they're like, it's like works of art. I've been saving the roughs that he sends me because they're outstanding.
Sometimes the roughs are nice because you're a lot freer with the pen and pencil, so it has a lot of energy to it. The trick is keeping that energy into the final drawing.
I'll show them to the guys I work with, you know, that they're not comic book people, whatever, and they're just like, this guy, his roughs. They love his roughs. They're like, oh, is this the comic book? This is amazing. You know, like,
yeah,
no,
dude, I have very little ego with my stuff. Your artist is phenomenal. I love your artist.
Me too. Like I said,
as soon as I saw it, I was like, wow. That's
as long as it's successful, and as long as he wants to put up with me, you know.
Yeah.
I told him I want to put his kids through college, and he said, well, I got expensive kids. I said, well, you know, and just yesterday, again, I'm talking about myself, but
go ahead.
He sent me this big message because we're already planning issue 2. Like, I'm being hopeful that we're going to make enough to go ahead with issue 2. So he's doing character sketches for because he's on. I shouldn't be saying this, but he's almost done with issue 1. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So like, you know,
when are you launching?
That's just it. When am I launching? I'm not going to give a definite date, because I learned once you give a definite date, people hold it to. So I just been telling people sooner rather than later.
And you're going to do you're going to do the 30-day pre-launch.
Right. I want to do a 30-day pre-launch, get people talking about it, get it, you know, do the rounds, hopefully get people excited. What's going to be holding me up? Like, I haven't done any lettering yet, but I got my letterer. I got my letterer, and we're ready to go. You know, I got my pre-press guy. The only thing that's holding me up is the cover. You know, the covers hold me up, and then actually building the campaign page. You know, that's the only thing's really holding me up. And the guy that I want to do that is finishing up his other obligations. But he made that clear to me, so I'm not gonna, you know, the only time it'll matter is once I start making comics. I kind of want to make it regularly, you know.
Yeah.
I want to tell myself I want to do 2 a year, and then hope for 3 a year. You know.
Nice.
You know,
nice.
But
I'm gonna.
Renzo was doing like 6 comics at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he doesn't know me. We didn't have any history. I was just another. And now you say that like I'm almost done with issue 1. I was like, let's just start issue 2 and hope for the best. You know?
Yeah, that's great, man. I mean, Chris is gonna take while we're launching issue 1, we're gonna see how it's doing. He wanted to take a little hiatus, and then Mark came in with his story. I was like, oh, thank God, perfect.
Thank you, Matt.
Absolutely, and
I can't wait either. I can't wait either.
Yeah,
you know, when I get the proofs, you know, I don't think I'm giving anything away, but I'm talking with Brian Bow. He's got the proofs of his issues. Yeah. He's launching his own Wolf and Batsy, you know, in his own comic. He you know, he wanted to go off on his own and do it all on his own. And I don't blame him, you know, more power to. He just showed me photocopies of the proofs of oh my God. It's so good, you know, and you know, I think I might go with the same printer, you know, the same grain of paper and everything like that. So I can't wait. When I get those proofs in my hand, oh my God, I don't know what I'm gonna do. You're gonna turn on I'm gonna be dead of a year of happiness, you know. I can't wait.
When I do my own thing, like starting when I get the store, I'm gonna do it differently. I'm gonna plan on people kind of being broke, because that's one of the things that indie comics can't figure out a solution for yet, is that when books cost $15 to $20, it's really hard to make a decision. So I'm going to plan on people being broke. So what I'm going to do is to try to get work out every few months. I'm going to do I'm going to draw a page a week. So I'm going to take a 36-page book. I'm going to break it into 3 sections, Act 1, 2, and 3. And then every 12 weeks, I'm going to release 12 pages. That'll be Act 1 for digital only.
Okay.
$3.50. $3.50, digital only. So every few months you get 12 pages, okay? Now, what I'm going to crowdfund for to add value to it, I'm going to do the collected. So those pages will be in black and white. I'm a good enough artist where my black and white can hold. Okay, so what I'm going to crowdfund for is at the end of that, I will crowdfund for a collected, colored, professionally colored edition.
Cool. And
that's what I'll crowdfund for. So you'll be able to read the book. If you like the book and you're a collector, like all of us are, you can get the whole book for, like, by the time you're done, you will have spent like $11 on the black and white edition, right? Still relatively cheap for an indie book. And then I'll crowdfund for the slightly more expensive collected colored edition. And you can have that too. So, but it'll be added value. It'll be colored. It'll be more of a collector thing. I'll do really good paper, you know, because I'm not trying to get it all in one shot. I've already made a little bit of money. I'm not looking for much throughout those 12 weeks, you know.
And you have the added bonus of you're the artist. You know what I mean?
I don't have to pay anybody.
For an artist, yeah.
I don't have to pay anybody. Yeah, so me and Matt are the artists and writers. We don't have to pay anybody. So we do have that added. We're able to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to work a lot better.
I'm the writer. I know this is something you shouldn't say, but I feel like I'm doing the least amount of work on my own comic, because Rendo.
No, listen, I know that's something you know, but it's true. Anyone who does comics knows that, though. A writer, any writer in comic books can do 5, 6, 7 books a month if they really want to. An artist can do one, generally one.
Yeah, unless you're Jack Kirby, you could do one. Yeah,
but Jack Kirby invented his style to make it quicker, so that he could, like, I can't do that with my style. You know what I mean? Like, I can't. It's too detailed.
Yeah. So my goal is to have like 2 or 3 comics, you know, and you know, Rendo is going to be my superhero guy. You know, I don't know who's going to be my horror guy. I don't know who's going to be my mythological guy. I don't know. You know, now I got a children's book. I don't know who's going to do that yet. So, like you said about worrying, I don't worry until it's time to worry. And I drive my wife crazy because she worries instantly. I say, it's not time to worry yet. Next week, it's time to worry. So now, let's dance and be carefree. Next
me and my wife do that with different things. So she'll worry immediately. I'll calm her down because it's not something I immediately worry about. I'll worry about something, and then she'll try to calm me down because it's not something that she's worried about. So we have different strengths, which is really helpful.
That's what a good couple does. You know,
yeah.
my wife is better with money than me. You know,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can tell by your background you might have some issues with money.
If you give me $10 tomorrow, I got $1 and a bunch of crap that I don't even need.
Dude, I used to be like that, and then when I got like a family, I got like this weird guilt thing. So let's say we got like a chunk of money, right? Which like maybe twice a year we get a chunk and we go shopping. I'd have, let's say, I don't know, 7 graphic novels in my hand. I can only do that maybe twice a year sometimes. By the time I left the store, I walked out with 2 and I still felt guilty.
Yeah.
Because I grab everything I want and I just start being like, oh, I can't. I'm an asshole. I can't do this. And I just start putting them back. And my wife would tell me to get them. And I'm like, honey, I can't. I just start feeling bad. It's horrible.
I'm going to give it a visual, a verbal teaser for my mythology book. I already described the promo, the teaser that I want to make, you know, and the guy who's going to draw it goes, oh my God, I got chills. So I can't wait. I can't wait. Nice. But I don't want to, it's a good idea. And I don't want to share what the idea is because there's going to be
no, not yet. Not yet.
And yes, Marcus, buy my heroic tales. That's the actual logo designed by Nick.
That's cool. I like that. Yeah.
You know, it's supposed to be a love letter to old comics. There's the patriarch symbol.
Nice.
You know, have a beer.
Nice.
And I want to do that with all my campaigns because, you know, issue 2 is going to have a different superhero, and issue 3 is going to have a different superhero. So I don't want anybody to be like, I'm afraid of like a backlash. They're going to get issue 2. Where's the patriarch? I love the patriarch. Well, he'll come back, but I'm introducing the team. I'm kind of, you know, like think of it as the Marvel movies.
You're doing an MCU.
There is an arc where the team is formed. You know what I mean? But you know,
great. But that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, you know,
absolutely.
And just today on Twitter, somebody said, I wish I could remember who said this, but they said, it's hard to come. Oh, I said, one of my funny nitpicks about Alpha Core was I didn't like that the superheroes didn't have superhero names. They just had identities. You know? But the guy had a kid. But I trust Chuck Dixon. There's going to be a payoff. I trust Chuck Dixon. And somebody said, well, it's kind of easy because all the good superhero names have been taken. I said, no, they haven't. Stick with my comics. You're going to see some great superhero names that you're like, oh my God, I never thought. Like, I think the Patriarch is a great name. I think, you know, I made it up as a joke, and then I'm like, no, wait a minute, that's too good of a name to make as a joke.
No, that's a solid heroic name.
Yeah, he is, you know, the Patriarch. He's a good superhero. I love it. And wait, you know, and I don't want to give away other names, but I got such great villain names. You know,
I can't wait. I can't wait to read that book because with the script that I read, which was not for the book, it was for the supplemental goal. It was, like I said, it was so cool. It was like Twilight Zone-y. It was really cool. I fucking loved it. It was very, very classic. It was a very classic story. And it was just good. There was nothing you could take away that was like, wait, what did he mean by that? No, nothing. It was a good story done.
Thank you. I get embarrassed when people compliment me.
I do too. I know. I don't like it either. I know. But you know what? Let's get used to it. Let's really try to get used to it because if we keep pushing good away, it might stop coming. You know?
Right. You're right. So we've been talking for an hour and a half, and I could talk for another 2 hours.
Holy shit. I didn't know. I didn't know that. Oh no. Okay. Let's
have any active campaigns right now. Anything you want to promote?
I don't, buddy. Just myself. Again, go to Inside Sector 7 because Sector 7's not going away. Whether what happens on Kickstarter with Matt doing the campaign, we're going to see what happens. But I want that to see fruition, and I'll be able to work on that again at the end of this year. Just you know what. Just go to Romo Art. Go to Romo Art. I think maybe on Facebook it might be Romo 2 Art. Type in Romo Art, you'll see me. And follow and like and share. And if anyone needs a cover done or some promo work, I can always fit that in. I'm fast enough to fit in like one pick. I'm fast enough. And I talked to Mark Mulgrave. I said he's okay with me doing like some like a cover here and there while I'm doing his story. So yeah, just follow on Twitter. That's mostly where I am. So
what is Mabel Bakes?
Mabel Bakes is my wife's cookie business. And
okay.
Now, did she send you cookies yet?
No.
Do you want some cookies?
Do I look like I want cookies? Of course I want cookies.
You do. Okay.
Now,
because
cookies, I want more cookies on the other side.
You got them because she just sent Chris Faction another box today. So Chris has gotten 2 boxes. And I tell you what, anyone I work with gets boxes of cookies, and they're fucking brilliant. They're brilliant, let me tell you. So yeah, so there you go. Mabel Bakes on Facebook, and you've never tasted anything like it.
And what's your kid's YouTube channel again?
Clark Mo Playtime. Clark, and then M-O for Moscicki. That's my last name. And then Playtime.
Okay. And what does he do?
He opens up his Pokemon cards. There's one of him playing Spyro. Yeah, there you go. See? He just does what he does as a kid, and they're about like 15 minutes, 10 minutes. We try to keep them short. And my wife's getting really good at editing, so they're kind of funny. They're getting better and better. And if he keeps doing them, we'll keep posting them. That's all on him. He's a gamer, unboxing gaming, He's better at it than I was, and he likes it. So Taekwondo too, yeah.
It's funny is my niece has 5 kids, and they're the cutest things in the world. And she did a YouTube channel of them playing, and she edited them all. And she said she stopped doing it because like other mothers that were doing the same thing were like getting nasty to each other. Like you think there's infighting in comic books. Oh my God, mothers talking about their cute kids. She said she couldn't do it anymore. She just had to stop. It was so discouraging.
It's a weird thing.
Nobody's bothering your kid is,
I'm a very private, like when I had Clark, I know we should stop the thing, but like when I had Clark, I can guarantee you old friends of mine that are on my Facebook, they didn't know. I don't think I've ever posted one picture of Clark on my Facebook. I don't like social media in that aspect. My family is my family. You know what I mean? I'm older that way. So when I posted Clark's one video on Twitter the other day, I thought it was just a funny video, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And immediately I posted it, and I'm like, if someone says one fucking thing bad, how can I find them? How can I find them at a convention? I'm gonna flip their
It's funny because Facebook to me is
crazy.
Facebook to me is keeping up with my family. Oh, my niece, now my nieces are having kids. Oh, my niece had a kid. Oh, they live too far away. Show me the baby pictures. Oh, your cat died. Oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, see, for me, it's
that's and also Facebook is the hidden resource to talk to the older comic creators. None of them have Twitter, but all the old timers, they're all
actually, that's interesting. I never thought of that. You're right. Yeah,
I've been messaging a lot of old gray hairs,
Yeah, I'm really private with my family. So like to post that one video of my son to Twitter, I was like instantly thinking, I swear I'm gonna go to prison. The first person that says any fucking thing about. But the thing is like, you know what? I get over it because he's having fun and he's my son. So I'm putting him out there.
And you know what is also fun? When I heard people that I knew, I'm doing a YouTube channel, I was just like, you're an asshole. Like you're a YouTuber? What are you? Now I'm a YouTuber. Like I still don't even realize this was the first time I ever said I'm a YouTuber.
You are.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I know.
I got monetized, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a guy who talks about comic books, but like, I guess I'm a YouTuber. Now I'm one of those pretentious jackasses that I used to make fun of. This is what you do, And then my wife's like, oh, you're gonna go downstairs and do YouTube? Like she teases me. I'm like, yeah, I guess I am.
It's weird. Like it was never.
And I don't tell my family. Like they know.
In your construction crew, I probably wouldn't either.
My I went to my niece's wedding, and my other nephew goes, "Hey, Uncle John, I like your comic book videos." I was like, "Oh, thanks. How'd you find out?" Like it's
Yeah, yeah.
We told somebody, and somebody told somebody else.
Yeah. It's weird. It is
embarrassed. Now
it is weird. It is weird, and like you started, but honestly, like you started it for the right reasons. You started it organically, just because you literally needed to. And
I was going crazy during COVID.
That's my point. You needed to. So it was time for you to just blow up a little bit. And I'm glad it was so nice. Like after I had you on my show and I'm watching all your guests, I'm like, dude, John is doing so good. It was so nice to watch that. And I knew my heart wasn't in it, and I knew it was going to end soon because, and you know who actually got it through my head, and he didn't even talk to me about it? Hojo. Hojo said, I don't have a YouTube channel, but my campaign is funding because everyone else has a YouTube channel. So there's always a place for me to show up. And I'm like, you know what? He's fucking right. Yeah. He's right. So I don't need to do this.
Hojo is a good guy. He's been on my channel.
I think he may have been one of my last guests.
He's got a good Pickles is good.
Oh, Brittany loves your new intro. I love your new intro too.
I love it too. This is gonna drive me nuts. The guy. I want to give him credit.
He's just bad with names. Bad with me too. I hate it.
He just sent it to me, and I'm turning crazy. I can't remember names. What geeks do? What geeks do network? He just sent it to me because I'm going to send this to you, and I was like, I love it. And no disrespect, somebody else sent me an intro, and I didn't use it, and he was like teasing me. I guess he didn't like it.
I remember you showed it to me. I liked it. I actually liked your other.
It was really nice. It was really nice.
It was really nice. It just wasn't. It wasn't nice. What you wanted, but it was good.
The reason why I did it built me up too much.
It showed too much of you. I remember you saying that.
Yeah, I showed too much of me, and it was just like it made me feel like I was running for president. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It was too complimentary.
Yeah,
and I'm not comfortable with that. This one, I just got that I put that goofy picture on because I think you see that goofy picture of me with my Odin mask on and whatever.
Yep.
And then comic books, supposed to be comic books. I think you see my hand in one of the videos. I like it. It's a lot of fun. So what geeks do if you're there, make an outro, just like even louder and faster. That would be fun.
Yeah, Brittany's really good at that stuff for having never done it and using like a cheap
the less you see me, that is best. Absolutely.
Less of seeing
John. And my wife will agree. She'll back you up on that one.
Oh my God, that's great. That's great. All right, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe we've been talking for almost 2 hours.
You want to try to end it a second time, see what happens?
It's funny because I always give people an out, and I talked to Chuck Patton, and I was like, okay, we've been going on for an hour, and then 15 minutes later, 20 minutes later, I gave another. But I don't know. I like to talk, and I guess people like to talk too. But there you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone loves a good John.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, buddy.
Tomorrow I'm going to be on Master Swag's channel at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll as soon as he sends me a link, I'll put that in. But
okay, wait, who? Because he sent me. He said hi, and he captioned like me and you. Who is he? Because I was going to add him, but I didn't know who he was. I wasn't sure.
It's funny. I keep saying he's a young kid, but he's like 30. You know what I mean? But that's a young kid to me. He has a YouTube channel, and I had so much fun talking to him. I think I'll try to find a link, but if you could see me on his channel, it was literally like who would win in a fight, Batman or the Thing or Captain Marvel. We just talk like little kids about comic books. I had so much fun. It was just exact goofy comic book talk that I loved, and it was funny. You think I talk a lot? I couldn't get a word in edgewise.
Okay, I'll add him as a friend because I was kind of weary. I couldn't tell like if it was a weird account or something. I never heard of him. So I'll add him as a friend then.
Oh, it's another porn bot. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know. So yeah, I'll go ahead and add him. That's really cool. I'm glad to know that.
Also, Sunday Comics, which is not to take away from my conversations. I'm loving Sunday Comics. I take an old comic and I talk about it, and the crowd, we ask questions. This week I'm doing Daredevil #1. That's Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm doing all the keys of my collection, like I did Fantastic Four #1. I did X-Men #1. And one thing I'm really liking it is my childhood friend Allison is watching it, who doesn't know comics, and she's getting interested in comics. So
nice.
She's asking questions about, like, she didn't know what a gutter was, like she didn't understand the Z pattern to read. We're talking about things like that. It's a lot of fun. And then next week, I got 4 or 5 live chats next week. So there you go. What are you doing? Anything coming up that you want to talk about? I know I already asked it, and then I interrupted.
No, nothing coming up. Just work, and that's all I want. All I want is work. I don't need to see my face. I'm good. I just want work. And right now, Ron fucking loves the number ones, especially Daredevil. Daredevil was, he was my favorite for a while.
Is a great comic. And
he was my favorite for a while, a long time. No, I just got work coming up. So we're good, buddy. Yeah, we're good. Thank you.
3 members of my channel. I got 3 members: War Duke, Crom, and Jeff Hatcher. The guys have been with me from the beginning. They're members. I thank you.
Awesome.
They subscribe. They pay every month to. I don't know. I feel so guilty. I'm the worst salesman in the world.
You're a YouTuber.
Telling me I got to be a better salesman, but I'm terrible.
You're creative. I know.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks, buddy. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. Wish I had an outro. I never know what to do when this.